What's up? Good morning. My name is Chef D Malfi, and welcome to Plant-Based Made Easy. I'm very excited because today I'm finally debuting my first cookbook of many. This is the August 2020 cookbook called Plant-Based Made Easy. I made a little booklet this morning from my printer. This is a downloadable. If you want this cookbook, all you have to do is become a member. It's $12 a month. And what you get is this amazing month-long of recipes. I'm going to do today breakfast because today, after all, is Monday, and we're going to stick to a routine. I want to show you the cool page, which actually shows you the recipe key. And on Mondays, we're going to do breakfast. Tuesdays are lunch, dinner. Wednesdays, snacks are Thursdays. Sweets are Fridays. And even on the weekend, I give you recipes like staples. These are plant-based staples. These are really easy, but they're really great to get your pantry and your kitchen ready for the rest of the week. These are things like bread, yogurt, cheese, milk, all of those. So during these weekdays, I'm going to be going through the weekday recipes, and today we're doing Blackberry pancakes. These are really easy. These are super nutritious, and they're super seasonal. So let's get right into it. So the first thing that you want are some beautiful blackberries. I'm going to use these organic blackberries today that I got from Driscoll. They are organic. They're juicy. They're sweet. They're so yummy. The other thing that you're going to need is make a batch of the yogurt from the staple recipe. That's going to be at the end of this week. It's going to be your staple recipe. And today we're going to use some of this yogurt as the base or garnish for our pancakes. And then we're also going to make a delicious batter. This batter is going to be protein rich. It is jam-packed with nutrients and protein because we're using sprouted garbanzo bean or chickpea flour, also called graham flour in the United Kingdom and other parts of the world. We call it garbanzo bean flour, chickpea flour. That's what we're going to use, as well as my favorite protein powder inside of our pancake batter. This is Sunwarrior Protein Classic. And one of the cool things about becoming a member and getting this downloadable cookbook is that I also include a weekly grocery list so that you can go to the market or get your groceries delivered, and everything can come right to your door so that you can cook along with me. And Danny and I have been thinking a lot about how can we make this even more engaging. We actually might bring people that are interested in doing a side-by-side cooking with me right here during our live stream. So think about that. If you want to do that, let me know. But today it's just me and these pancakes. So we're going to get into it. Let's start by making the blackberry sauce. I'm going to do it in a side pan right here. You want to start to get your side pan or saute pan on a medium high. And I'm going to do it in a small saute pan. Mine's induction safe. This is about what you need. I'm going to do it overhead so you can follow along with me, all right? All right, so in this, we're going to add about a half a cup of frozen or fresh blackberries, and then 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. It's probably all we need. And then I'm going to use raw maple syrup, which I really, really love. This is Trader Joe's version. It's grade A. It has that amber-rich color and flavor. It's really, really delicious. And remember, it's maple syrup, so it is raw. And we're going to use 2 teaspoons of this. I'm going to eyeball it, 1 and 2. I don't need to overly sweeten this sauce because it's going to have a delicious flavor because of the blackberries. They're really sweet, like I said. And all you really need is some sort of spoon. I'm going to use the back of a wooden spoon. Let me grab a big one. And you want to kind of break apart these blackberries to help them kind of create some juice in this pan. Yes, you can use frozen blackberries. I'm going to go ahead and show this. This is a question from Marie. Hi, Marie. This happens to be my aunt. Hi, Auntie Ree. Yes, you can use frozen blackberries. They're harder to find, Auntie Ree. So if you want to use frozen blackberries, you just have to source them. I think I've seen them at Whole Foods. I'm not myself. I don't go to Whole Foods all that often. I really use Trader Joe's a lot more, or Mother's Market. So try to find them if you can. But I have to tell you, I think that fresh are a lot better. So that's just the first part of your question. I think that the fresh blackberries are going to be a lot more flavorful and juicy, but the frozen will certainly work. The other part of your question is, how long does the yogurt last in the refrigerator? It's going to last probably 3 to 4 weeks. Now, I'm going to give you a range here, and I can't give you an exact expiration date because it really depends on the environment of your container that you hold your yogurt in. And how often are you taking it out of the refrigerator, and how often is it coming down to room temp and then coming back to temp? Does that make sense? So when we're making yogurt, we're making fermented foods and things like this, really anything that's perishable that needs refrigeration, it's really important to keep that refrigerated product as cold as possible for as long as possible. And that's going to keep it as fresh as possible. Make sense? Good questions. Thank you so much for asking. And this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you have questions along the way, just let me know. I want to answer your questions, your cooking questions about this recipe, or really anything plant-based cooking related. So let a sister know. I can see who's here, and hello, everyone. So you guys can see I'm doing a split screen so you can actually follow along with me and the blackberry sauce. I'm pressing them so that they can kind of release all their juices. And this sauce can get nice and thick. Now, think of this sauce as more of kind of like a chutney. It's thick. It's never going to be like a completely pureed. It's going to always have bits of that blackberry visible, and I want that. You can also do this with blueberries, with raspberries. You can use any of these delicious berries. Even strawberries would be fine. So you certainly make it your own. Whatever you have access to, use those. All right, this looks great. See how fast that was? This is perfect. I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to grab my trivet so that I can put this just on the side as we make the batter. Oops. Sorry about that, Rosemary. All right, this is going to go on the side. And let's make this batter. All right, so let's make the batter. I want a half a cup of this garbanzo bean flour. This is sprouted because I really like sprouted ingredients. This comes from Thrive Market. You can see on the grocery list. I didn't include this one per se, but you can absolutely get this one from Thrive Market. You guys, I don't get anything for promoting them. I just really like their membership model, and I love their pricing. It's 30% less than most retailers, so I really like it. So I'm going to add a half a cup of the chickpea flour. And yes, you definitely want to measure this. And why am I using sprouted, or why might you consider buying sprouted flour? Because it's more nutrient dense. It's going to have a lot of those nutrients more bioavailable for the gut belly and the blood system and all the vital organs. So when we sprout something, it becomes more of a living, nutritious ingredient, and it actually makes sure that we can actually absorb the macro and the micronutrients more. All right, so the next thing we need is a little bit of that plant-based protein. Let's talk about this for 1 second. This is Sun Warrior Protein Classic. I really like this because it is no stevia. It's no sweetener. It's completely unsweetened. It's almost, it's totally like has no flavor, unflavored. It's USDA organic, which is really great. And it's really great plant-based supplement that is usually made with fermented brown rice. They do have a different color, which is like a different, it's not Protein Classic, but another color, which is made with pea powder. And then they also have one with the blend of their pea powder and their brown rice. But I like this one the best. I'm going to use 1 scoop, and it's going to look just like the graham flour. Look at this. And 1 scoop of this bad boy is going to give you 20 whopping grams of protein. So right in I go, and it's like literally the same color as the graham flour. All right, I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of that baking powder. Really important to use baking powder. 2 teaspoons is really great. This is going to create that leavening effect. And then I also want some cinnamon. I want some sort of flavor agent. I'm going to use cinnamon because it's warming and I really like it. And we're going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm eyeballing. And then you should also use some filtered cold water. 3/4 of a cup of filtered cold water. Pour that in. And then give this a good mix. A mixing spoon here. You can use a whisk, whatever you want. When I'm making pancakes, I really want to have some sort of pour measuring cup. A liquid measuring cup, it works really great for pouring batter into a pan. This is looking thick. It's looking delicious. I have my pour measuring cup waiting. This is perfect. This is what is a liquid measure. And this makes pouring really easy so that you don't kind of get pancake batter all over the place. And you don't have to really worry because this is gluten-free, naturally, because it's made with chickpea flour and brown rice powder as the protein, to overmix this. You can't really overmix it. I'm sure you could eventually, right? And just like lose all of that leavening. But in terms of developing that gluten or overdeveloping the gluten, you can't do that. That's really only if you're using wheat. So you just want to get it to a smooth consistency. Let me show you. Hi, Mom. Good to see you. My mom is on the line. Roberta Baumgartner's here. All right, so we've got the batter. We've got the blackberry sauce. That looks fantastic. And I think it's time for us to actually get to it. So get another, but a bigger pan. Get this on a medium-high heat. And then you want to spray this down. I'm going to use a little coconut oil spray. I really like this stuff. It's going to impart just a little bit of that coconut flavor. It's really yummy. You could use canola oil spray though. You could also use plant-based butter, but know that when you use plant-based butter, it's actually going to brown a little bit as you're cooking. So just kind of keep that in mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my pancake batter right into my liquid measure. Getting every little bit. It's so important. You've gone out of your way to find that graham flour, that chickpea flour. You've gone out of your way to find that protein powder. You've gone out of your way to make the batter. So make sure you get every little bit, every tiny bit of this batter into the liquid measure so it will become your pancakes. If you can't find chickpea powder too, I just want to mention you could also do this with whole wheat flour. I highly recommend getting yourself a really good sturdy whole wheat flour. Make sure it says whole wheat right on the bowl, on the bag, I mean, and get that. And you can use it. It would have the same color as this. So make sure that your pan is hot enough, right? It's not cool to the touch. And when you're ready, you can actually drop in, and when the pan is ready, drop in about, I want to say like 3 to 4 inch circles. I shouldn't have promised anything because who knows, right? Once you start pouring, it's like, who knows how much they'll kind of expand out.
Question.
Please. Question. All right. What's wrong with Pam spray? Good question. I'm curious to know why you think that there's something wrong with it, but your instincts are absolutely right. And the thing about Pam spray, and quite frankly, I'm going to say that even this coconut spray that I just used, it contains butane. That's the thing that's going to create that like spray situation. That butane we don't really want in our diet. So I try not to use this spray oil, pan oil, all that often. Honestly, I used it today because that's how I wrote the recipe, and I really want to make sure that I'm making it how I have written it. But you could absolutely use butter because that's obviously going to be a fat agent. It's not going to have any chemical added. But that's the reason. Good question. And if you wanted to, I'm going to pull this over. If you wanted to, you could just simply use coconut oil. I think I'll do that next time. Just simple coconut oil. You can use unrefined or refined, and that would work just fine. I love that question. And you have another one, which is, can you make a bunch of these pancakes and then freeze them? Yeah, you absolutely can. I love to do this. I will make all of my pancakes, and then I will eat what I want and then freeze the rest. I like to freeze mine in stasher bags or Ziploc bags, and they keep for a couple of weeks or so. And then just thaw them in the refrigerator when you're ready to use them. You can pop them in the microwave, or you can simply like put a little butter in a saute pan and then warm them up that way. That would be a really great way to enjoy a frozen pancake. All right, so I'm gonna let that go. I know I'm not ready to flip. I'm just kind of like on it, right? I don't wanna like mess this up. I don't want them to get too brown, so kind of pay attention to that. You know that a pancake's ready to flip when it starts to get little air bubbles around the surface. I see another question here. I'm going to put this on from my mom. I found a wonderful pea protein at Sprouts. Yeah, there's a ton of pea protein at Sprouts. Get that. If you are into the pea protein and you really like that, those tend to be really great, very comparable to sprouted or fermented brown rice protein powders. Fantastic. Get that. The good rule of thumb with protein powder is just err on the side of avoiding all whey protein. You have to. When we're plant-based, we can't eat whey. That is the protein that's called casein that comes from the milk of cows. And we don't want to eat that. We don't want to enjoy that when we're going plant-based. That will inflame the system. So if you're really trying to make an effort and eat better, eat cleaner, because you instinctually feel like you're wanting to do that, you feel like it's going to be better for your body, follow that instinct, trust that instinct, and get yourself some delicious high protein powder from the brown rice or the pea. All right, so while this continues, let's make that yogurt sauce. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna make a lemon yogurt. It's also gonna be for garnish. Let's grab a bowl, and I'm gonna make it in Actually, I'll do it right in the bowl itself. Here is my yogurt. Now, if you download this cookbook, you'll see that it's the 6th recipe in the book. It is called Greek yogurt. That's how I've named it because it's very thick. And it takes about 2 days in total to make. But it's really cool. Try it at home if you want. Here's the finished product. All I did was add a little vanilla bean powder so it's speckled. And right now, we're going to add to it some lemon juice, about a teaspoon or so, and some lemon zest. So I've got an organic lemon. Really important, buy an organic lemon. Don't even worry about buying conventional lemons or citrus at all in the supermarket because they actually wax the outside of all conventional citrus to make it look a little shinier and plumper and delicious to get you to buy it, right? But if you buy organic, you don't have to worry about that wax on the outside. And especially if you're going to be enjoying the outside, like zesting it like we're gonna do, you definitely wanna get organic. So I'm gonna just zest this on a microplane, and that's what this is. This brand is actually Edgeware here. And I'm just gonna run this down the blade. And I'm after, I would say, anywhere between 1/2 and 1 teaspoon of the zest. Giving you a range here. The recipe really calls for 1 teaspoon, but let's say you're making this for kids and they may not like that lemon zesty flavor. You can just opt in for 1/2 the amount of the lemon zest. And I'm going around the blade. I'm going around the lemon. That's what I meant to say. All right, around the lemon. And I'm going to pull off all that pigmented yellow. Perfect. What you end up with, look at all of that. It is an amazing amount. I think that ends up being about a teaspoon. Let's test it. Voila, 1 teaspoon. That can go right in. And then I'll also use just a bit of the juice as well. But first, before I do that, I need to flip my pancakes. So I'm gonna flip these. They kind of start to release themselves from the pan.
Why don't you put the blackberries in the batter?
You can. Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah, you could absolutely put the berries inside the batter. Because my pancakes are so small, I'm going to leave it out, and I'm just going to like top them with the blackberry sauce. All right, so now let's get into this lemon. Take a little knife, get yourself a lemon cheek. That's just the side of the lemon here, right? And then just squeeze in, it's about 1/2 teaspoon or so. And then the last thing that you may want is some type of sweetener, like maple syrup or agave sweetener for the yogurt itself. And I think I'll just use a splash. Yeah. That ends up being like, I don't know, less than 1/2 teaspoon. I see some seeds. I'm going to pull those seeds out and then just give this a mix. This should be great. Man. Cool. All right. So this is nice and yogurt saucy. It's perfect. It's going to have that lemony flavor. I'm just going to taste it. You're tasting for obviously zest, but you're also tasting for sweetness as well. It's really great. It's really zesty. It's very sweet. It tastes perfect. All right. I'm going to grab a plate for these pancakes. These pancakes are looking perfectly delicious. They've gotten nice and tall. Both sides are perfectly cooked. Don't try this at home. Definitely use something else, not your hands. But these don't feel all that hot for me, so I'm just going to grab them right off. And I think that is going to be perfect. All right, I won't make the rest of the pancakes right now. I'll do that later. But now I want to build my delicious bite with you all. So I want to grab my... you can take your fresh blackberries and have them on hand too, just to have them near. And you won't really need maple syrup for this garnish. You can really just use a little bit of the blackberry sauce that we made. That should be just fine. Let me clear this cutting board. Great. And I'm going to use 5 pancakes. I think that's my serving size. Because they're thick and they're really protein rich, you're gonna see that these are small, kind of like silver dollar pancake size, but they're super full of flavor, and they're just delicious. But they're very satiating. They're very filling, so you don't need a whole lot. So I'm gonna start with my blackberry sauce. I think I'll do it right in the middle. And then your yogurt sauce as well. Perfect. And don't be shy with the yogurt sauce. These are going to be super great with the yogurt and the blackberry. You know what? I need a little bit more blackberry. I just don't think that's just not enough. Get into it. Just like go for it. I was being a little bit conservative there. And I want more. So this looks fantastic. I might just take a few of these fresh blackberries and place them around. Why not, right? Look at how beautiful these are. Gorgeous. And that's it. These are amazingly perfect for summer blackberry pancakes with a delicious plant-based yogurt. It's lemon kissed and a delicious blackberry sauce. Simple, nutritious, delicious. I put a little question in the Facebook group for Plant-Based Made Easy. What is your favorite plant-based breakfast? I want to hear from you. Will you please let me know? And that yes, you can take this. This can be your answer. That is totally fine. But definitely try this recipe. If you haven't downloaded this cookbook yet, please do so. The link is right here. It is bit.ly/plant-based made easy. It's $12 to get this cookbook. That is such a value, people, because you're getting so much in it. Like I said before, you're going to get lots of different types of recipes: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, sweets, and staples, as well as a weekly grocery list with clickable links. I've added clickable links for the extras for amazing products like this Sun Warrior protein powder or other things along the way that are really harder to find. I've given you my recommendation. And at the last moment, I wanted to just add a little bit more value. So I've added pages of a journal entry so that you can actually do this journal entry exercise that I'm calling You Are What You Eat. It's an amazing opportunity to cook recipes throughout the week. And at the end of the week, sit down with your little booklet, your cookbook, and write out what are some of the things that came up for you. What are you noticing about these recipes? I've given you one journal entry prompt per week. That's only 4. It's not a lot of homework. It's not even homework. It's just a fun experience and a fun exercise to kind of think about, oh, how did I enjoy this recipe? What did I learn from the process of making the food? So try this recipe and try all of them. I hope that you'll come back for more. Tomorrow we're going to make lunch. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Peace out, people. Have a good one.